Hello everyone and welcome to LSI F1.5 EU Championship. We're today for the Italian Grand Prix, and that was a dramatic start to the live stream as Frantic will not be improving the rest of qualifying on the exit of Ascari. They put that one in the barrier, and that is going to be their day done. Welcome, Jakob Zaplatau. Oh my days, I've been practicing that so much and I still got it wrong. I can't say it. P4 right now. They didn't complete their lap. Jakob Willis up to P3. They're on a lap right now to finish very shortly. We've got Terence who's starting their next lap, and we'll see what they can do. Across the line for Jakob Willis, it's going to be a P2 at the moment, which is all good, of course. Terence P7, and we will watch on board as we've got a few technical difficulties that I'm going to have to try and fix, so we'll just watch on board with this lap. Rhino Friday race, it's actually a break week, and Monza was race 1 for the F1 tier, so this is a reschedule, JJ. Yeah, this race is a reschedule of round 1. It's now effectively round 3 for the F1.5 Championship. Terence goes P5, so we get the same amount of races in the season. As F1, it's just a slightly different one. So when we get to next week, which will be a sprint race, Austria for both tiers, then everything will be back synced together again, and we'll all be good. Terence sets that lap, and now the next car ready to set their next lap is going to be Jakob. We do have Frantic on their way back, so hopefully they have fixed their issues. They've currently got wheel issues. Zora crashed. I think it was something to do. I think they just made a mistake, unfortunately. And we've got Devon, who is a high tier driver. They are currently racing the Alpine. They did leave to go and get a setup. It retired their car, however, so they might not be able to apply one into the race. So we'll see if they continue in this race or not. But yeah, that's how that one's going to go. And we're going to see if this Ferrari car can try and make their way towards the front of the pack if possible. They've got 1.1 seconds they need to try and catch to Sir Maxwell, the current pole sitter, who is just over 2/10 ahead of Jakob Willis right now. Sending it over the curbs on exit. Nicely planted for the Ferrari. No, I think I should have it. Zaplatau. There you go. Jakob Zaplatau on his way into the Lesmos. Getting it turned in nicely down to 5th gear, back up to 6th, and then back down to 5th for the second one. Riding the inside. A little bit wide on the exit. You can bottom out if you're not careful on that curb. Not bad at all, though. It will still be quick DRS down this long straight, the final real DRS straight until you get to the very end, which you don't actually get to DRS in time for. Through Ascari nice and tidy. And then you go down the final straight, ready for the final corner. You can hold it to the right hand side to stop bottoming out so much as the circuit is bumpy, but turn 11 comes up, slight bit of understeer on entry, but on exit they pull it to the right hand side to minimize track distance. And what's it going to be for the Ferrari? It's going to be an improvement by 0.6, but it won't be enough to get ahead of Frantic right now. And with the time being as it is, they will have time for a cool down lap and then to go again, but it will not be a pit stop. Then onto another fresh set of tyres for the Ferrari. And 19.7 at the moment. They could possibly improve again if they do this cooldown lap and then maybe go ahead of Frantic, but to get ahead of Jericho Willis and Sir Maxon, that would be very difficult to do. No worries, JJ. Hopefully it should all make sense now. Alright, the final few moments. We've got Pepe on his way. Let's see what they can do. Struggling with the game. It's a very, very difficult one. Saying that they wish they could go back to F1 2021. It was a hell of a game for sure. What a time. I think that was... the entirety of F1 21 for us was streamed on Twitch. We didn't ever stream F1 21 on YouTube, so that's how far back you have to go for F1 21. I think we did the entirety of F1 22 on YouTube, except from one race, which was on Twitch, as a little bit of understeer into the first corner, and it's going to mean that they go slow on exit. They backed off the lap, and they're going to go again and see if they can try and set a quicker lap later on. So not the best first few corners, and they'll have to go again, but we've got Sir Maxon and Jericho Willis who are going to be fighting out for pole position now. How could you join this team? There should be a Linktree link in our bio on the YouTube channel right now. And then you should be able to join the Discord. You should be able to register on the website. If you want to get into racing, you can fill in the registration form. So yeah, there's Discords to join. And what we'll do is we'll message you once you've joined the Discord. I will message you after this race, and then we'll see if we can get you in racing for next weekend, which will be Austria, which will be a great race. It always is a great race for league racing. We've got some Maxon starting their lap, but Jericho Willis is going to be first. So we will watch on board with the man in blue right now into the braking zone. It's about 120, a little bit before the 100-meter board regardless. Second or third gear, depending on preference on exit. Now you hold it tight to the right-hand side to minimize that track distance. As you ring it out in 7th gear, then back up to 8th. And then we are heavy braking into the second chicane, just after the 100-meter board, sending it over the curbs if you can, and on the exit, extending everything as well. First, Lesmos get it turned in nicely, holding 6th gear, which is very possible, but they lost the rear end. If they want to get another lap in, they're going to have to keep pushing, but they back off, and I think it's going to be Sir Maxon's free chance to look at pole position right here, unless Jericho Willis can keep up the pace and save a bit of energy as well, but they are backing off, so it will be it for the Williams driver. No improvements. 75 meters, turning after the 50 or in the middle of the curb and through Ascari nice and tidily, holding it to the right for a moment and back to the left, and the final corner will await their pole position attempt right here. Nice and tight to the inside line on entry. Can they pull it back to the right? They're going to hold it nice and wide, which is going to lose them a bit of time, but it's still going to be quick. And it's not actually going to be an improvement on their current lap time. That was a little bit of a shock. Jericho Willis will not be able to challenge right there. Terence is going 4/10 up right now. It would be a good effort, but I don't know if it's going to be enough for a pole position challenge. It's not going to be enough to go again for Pepe. They will not get another chance in this qualifying session, but Terence has got the final corner to go, and they will finish their qualifying session from having a terrible race in Singapore, DNFing on the first lap due to a technical issue. They'll cross the line in qualifying to try and start the race in the best place possible, and they did miss out, unfortunately, quite a bit at the very end right there. That would have been a 19.0 if they didn't have such a bad last sector, unless that was actually just a bit of a bug on our timing screen. I don't quite know, but that is how that one goes. Qualifying is done for Monza. Sir Maxon takes pole position, Jericho Willis in P2. Then we got Frantic, who took an early exit, but still took that P3 race director, just in case. And we'll be back for the race. We'll see you in a bit. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? We are away. It is Jericho Willis on the inside line with Sir Maxon trying to convert this pole position into an early lead. Frantic sits right behind. Are they going to have an opportunity at some point? I don't quite know. It's very tidy through the first corner between the leaders. It's going to be Jericho Willis on exit, getting the advantage. There's damage I see from maybe a car behind. I don't quite know. Was it the McLaren of Pepe? No, it's not. Someone has definitely got part of a front wing missing. The top two get away very nice and cleanly. Terence and the Ferrari. It's going to be Terence, unfortunately, missing a front right end plate. So on lap one, once again, a little bit of an incident. This is just damage this time, and they might be all good. But that's going to be Devon, currently on the medium tyre, and it looks like that car is pretty understeery right now. So it might be that they are, unfortunately, on a default setup set by the game. Hopefully that's not the case, but we'll see. Simatson takes the lead of the Grand Prix already. Frantic follows them through, and Jericho Willis is already in P3. That was a hell of a switch. You don't usually see that on the opening lap, but it's what's happened. And now Simatson leads from winning the Singapore Grand Prix. This is your championship leader right now, with Frantic, who was the championship leader after the Spanish Grand Prix. The two Titans now will be fighting. Frantic losing. I can't quite remember where they ended up out of the championship for the final standings so far, but they will have lost a few positions as other cars scored more points as well, not only Sir Maxon, but it is still very close, of course, with Frantic missing out one race, taking that win. They're currently on 20 points from the Spanish Grand Prix, looking to try and add anything they can after, I say, missing out on Singapore. 4 points to be a difference between a win and a P2. If they can get into P1 ahead of Simatson, those 4 points will be very valuable for sure. Jericho Willis holding on quite nicely right now. We've got Jakob in P4 at the moment. Terence is still there, but they do look like they've got a bit of a problem with that hard tyre, of course, so they're not going to be able to make this harder compound work to get that DRS. That Ferrari is working well with the top three right now, and they're going to make it a top four battle if they're not careful. Devon Young is looking to try and make an overtake on their old rival for the constructors last season. Terence has to let that one go, and Devon Young is going to try and push to catch the cars ahead and see if they can make it work. So maybe their setup is absolutely fine. To answer your question, do we have an esports team? We used to. We could possibly start it again. There is interest. If there is interest, we would like to do it again. But right now, we don't really, I think, see too many people interested for an esports team. So definitely, I think it's worth looking into. So yeah, we'll talk after the race and see how things go. Yeah, and we'll let you know. It has been a while since that was the case. Anyway, back to the race. Lap 3 out of 27. We've got a long way to go. Simatson still leads. Jericho Willis getting ahead of the Haas driver right now, which was a very good effort right there in P2 in a train. DRS wouldn't have been enabled down the start-finish straight, so they would have had an advantage because of that. But now DRS has kicked in. Everything's going to change up a little bit. Terence is trying their best to hold on, but that DRS is looking ever so difficult to catch up to. And unfortunately, 1.1 seconds, they're just going to keep losing out. Zora's going to be able to make this move quite easily down the straight. Hopefully these guys can work together to try and catch up the top 5 that it is now. Jakob, do they get DRS of the cars ahead? They should have been able to get that done, but no. Out of Parabolica, it will not happen. So it's going to have to be a slingshot job right here from Devon Young, who will make that move. But it's going to be a change once again as Frantic goes for the move to make it P2, and they sit now behind Simatson. This could be a little bit of a different situation. Devon Young just ahead of the Ferrari car that was looking very close. Terence stays ahead of Zora. Zora having a big issue as they make a mistake on the exit of the second corner. They don't have damage. It was just a spin, but it does mean that Terence is safe where they are, and they don't lose too much time behind the other cars, so they get through cleanly. Pepe makes a move, of course, on the cars. on their teammates, sorry, after that incident right there. Zaplatao just holding on to Devon Young at the moment. Seeing what they can do. Maybe this can bring them into the race later on, but they've got to make sure that they hold that DRS. Devon is pushing as much as they can. They know that they need this DRS if they want their race to work, but the ERS is just not there. Yoko makes a mistake, though, and that will change a lot of things right here. That could be a free pass right there for the Alpine car. Frantic is going to look at taking the lead for the first time in this race. I say for the first time. Was it the first time? I think it was the first time. If not the first time, then the second time in this race. But they've taken the lead of the race right now. Lap 5, and it is going to be Devon Young catching up nicely. Since that mistake happened, they will be in DRS range at the moment. They would have lost a lot, of course, with ERS, but they'll get into the Lesmos. They might be able to push into the corners right here, especially with no cars ahead of them or that close ahead of them. Another mistake there for Jericho as they cut the curves, and it is going to be quite a simple situation for Devon Young to be in now, as long as Jericho doesn't lose DRS to the cars ahead. That is a good situation for them. Jakob unfortunately losing 2/10 to Devon, as Devon went absolutely mental right there and did a pretty good job. We've got both McLarens unfortunately off. I don't know what's happened between these two, but they're both off at the chicane, and they're going to lose a lot of time. There's not going to be a safety car, but they're going to have to get their cars back the right way round and maybe go for a repair job for Pepe right there. Front runners right now. The top 4 are looking good. We've got a lovely train going at the moment. They can relax on ERS. They can relax on the track limits. That being said, it's not going to be a slow train. We've got Yoko Willis moving to the left-hand side. Wanted to have a go there. Simaxon goes to the right, and it will be closed off by Frantic. You know, the Williams was trying to go through. Frantic didn't want that to happen, but instead, the Williams has got through anyway on the inside line. So didn't quite plan that out enough right there for Frantic, who turned their battery off on the straight. Devon Young doesn't get through, but Frantic goes from P1 to P3 immediately. That's not what they wanted to happen. The Williams has made some very good progress, and that was a hell of an opportunity. I want to say opportunistic move, but it's not. It's just very, very cleverly done. They've managed to find a way through of a car that was probably wanting to try and hold on to the P2 right there. Unless Frantic wasn't too worried about losing it, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if they wanted to lose it or not later on, of course. They go for Ascari. Following closely in Devon Young, the F1.5 champion from last season, currently higher tier driver, so of course is not competing as a full-time driver in the EU tier. Does score a different point system and should be pretty quick. They haven't had too much experience in this game. Of course, starting quite late, but still they are a great talent and very, very quick. Being able to be this close immediately as they go to the inside line does the Williams car, and they will once again lead the Grand Prix here in Italy, as they did on lap 1 of this race, taking it from Simaxon on the exit of the first chicane, which is a brilliant move right there. And now it looks like Simaxon may even have a go immediately. They're going to tuck back in the toe and not push for a move. They just want to be in a train. These guys working together perfectly, but it was very quick, very, very close right there. Jakob in the Ferrari, just waiting behind. He is very close, doing everything that they need to do. Terence in the same situation, just on a different tyre, hoping that they can get a bit of a comeback going on with this tyre later on. Their pace should pick up at some point, but without a DRS train, that's going to be very difficult to compete with. We've got Zora, who is, of course, still out on track. Has Pepe gone into the pit lane? They haven't. They're just trying to hold on to the damage and try and make sure that they don't lose as much time as they would have a pit stop, and then go for the pit stop later on anyway, as they would have normally done. You can go for the undercut if you're going onto the hard tyre, so you should be good. That is a hell of a dip into the grass right there from the Williams. The Red Bull's already having a look at a move. Here comes the Haas as well to try and make it a P1 as they go to turn 1. We've got Devon Young just sitting behind. They're not really willing to be involved in this battle. Frantic wants to have it on the exit of the chicane. Simaxon could have the better line if they look for the switchback, but they weren't able to pull it off. And the Haas leads as they enter turn 3. That was a brilliant move right there. Well spotted there from Frantic. And although it looks pretty simple right now, still making double overtakes in that way in a league race can be quite daunting, because you've got 3 cars now going down a straight, and it all of a sudden becomes very narrow and very real. So you've got to be careful in how that's played out. A simple overtake, a one-on-one overtake can be quite nice, but when you've got loads of cars in a DRS train pumping the energy, all ploughing into the same corner in a very, very quick fashion, it can be quite scary. Frantic leads the way though on lap 8 out of 27, and we will be starting lap 9 very shortly. That's another yellow for, that will be Zora right there. Unfortunately, it is Devon Young who makes the move ahead of the Williams now, as we now start the next lap. So throughout that lap, managed to make it work. Devon Young, are they going to go for the double overtake? For the slingshot, they can't, as the virtual safety car is deployed as soon as they were going to try and get the job done. And that is such a shame right there, as that is a full front wing loss right there from Zora. Maybe Pepe can get into the pit lane for a repair in time and have a bit less of a pit stop disadvantage, but I don't think it's going to change much at all. I think it is just going to be what it is. Now, the leaders are going to have to watch out for the restart. They've got to be careful on how this one goes. They don't want to get a drive-through. If they can keep it clean, they may even be able to get a big advantage on a restart. You can benefit a lot if you get it right and get that exit. As you see, Jericho Willis unfortunately did not get it right and loses effectively 7/10, and Jakobs catches up massively right there because of that, as they make a big mistake, and that Ferrari is a very lucky car right now. That was incredible. Zora goes into the pit lane and retires the car. Unfortunately, that will be their race done. A hell of a shame right there for the McLaren, but it is what it is, and it goes that way sometimes. Alright, I do apologise for that situation. Simaxon is leading. Frantic's going to be looking to try and make that move. Jericho Willis is lucky to still be in this train after the restart, of course, that they had. Jakob unfortunately loses the car on the exit as the restart happened. We're going to have Simaxon go to the inside line, as Frantic is going to go all the way around the long way round, then have the inside for turn 2. It's not going to work out. They're going to stay behind and let it be. Devon Young, will they be able to have a look at a double overtake, or are they going to try and make it work in the second chicane? I don't think it's going to be worth it. They are going to go for the send, and Frantic's just going to have to let that one go. That is a hell of a send right there from Devon Young. You could see the rear locking on that car. They were going pretty hard on those brakes. They've managed to get the job done, and Frantic just had to kind of obey by the situation right there. Lap 10 out of 27 into the DRS, and out of the slipstream goes Devon Young as they make the move ahead of Simaxon right now, and are going pretty quickly, looking to try and be ahead for the DRS, or for the pit stops, of course, and if they can, maybe even break away, and that would leave the current tier drivers to fight for their podium. As it stands, Jericho Willis would still finish on the podium for the F1.5 EU drivers. Devon Young will win overall. Simaxon would win the EU race at the moment, but it could all change. It could all change. It's lap 11 out of 27 after all, and Simaxon now gets a free opportunity because Devon Young leads the pack. Simaxon doesn't need to overtake Devon Young. They can just sit behind at the moment and let things be. Of course, Frantic could possibly then make an overtake if they decide to not overtake the Alpine, but they can simply relax and basically have a very easy time at defending on the Haas. The Haas is looking to the inside to spot their breaking point, but with DRS being cancelled out for Frantic, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to overtake that Red Bull car. Unless they go for full send, it's going to be Devon Young who makes a mistake as they go to the first Lesmos. Joko Willis will not be able to make a move. Simatson, though, goes ahead, and it's going to be DRS for Frantic, and they're going to have a go into Ascari. It will be the lead all of a sudden for them. That is a brilliant move and a very confusing mistake right there for Devon Young, who I don't know if has got damage, but just lost out massively. I don't know if they've lagged back or they've got throttle pedal issues. They do have severe lag right there. Devon Young now down to P6 as their lag spikes do fix. I'm wondering if that is an input device, their keyboard possibly giving them a few issues right there. It's something that we've seen happen before in the past. Now Devon's going to be very frustrated. There you go. I'm stumbling on my words right here today. Simatson and Frantic go into the pit lane, however, and put on the fresh set of tyres. The hards will be the case. It will be the safest tyre. Frantic comes out ahead, and they will continue on their merry way, looking to try and get a bit of an undercut here on Joko Willis, who is all of a sudden on his own. Looking to be in a train with the other cars, is now completely alone. Devon Young didn't make that pit stop and continued, maybe looking to try and go for something different later on, after their internet issues caused them to lag out big time right there. I'm not entirely sure. Terence, of course, their strategy will be coming into play very, very soon. Jacob did unfortunately lose out to Terence on the same tyre. They are very close to the back of the driver from Hong Kong though, so they could possibly have a go at making a move within the next few laps. That being said, that hard tyre should be absolutely rapid compared to that medium tyre right now. Frantic and Simatson will have to be working together here on their outlap to try and extract the best performance of this car. They want to try and break away from Joko Willis in the pit lane if they can. It will make it a lot easier for them to be able to run this race. Jacob unfortunately getting a 10-second time penalty. That is going to add to their final race time. They'll go into the pit lane. They won't serve it right now. They might be able to serve it later on if there is a safety car or if they need to go for a second pit stop. But that is just going to be a hard tyre and a second time penalty. As you can see in the distance, Joko Willis will come out nice and close behind the other cars. Will they be able to get to DRS though? Their tyres are going to be so cold. 1.2 seconds right now. Is that going to change? That overcut, I don't know if it's going to work out too well. They'll have one lap fresher tyres, but would that be enough for them to catch up a little bit later on? I don't think so. The hard tyres are going to be so consistent, it's going to be really tough to compete with right now. Frantic going very quickly, catching up to, of course, the old tyre runner of Devon Young ahead, but still putting in some good lap times at the moment. Taking control of this race, but taking control of the race soon will be Simatson, who is very close to the back of the Haas car, but doesn't actually go for the overtake, so completely takes the words out of my mouth and will not happen. Simatson's looking to maybe go for a move on the straight, and as they didn't go for that move, they didn't go for the slingshot, it does bring the Williams into the battle. So that is the either advantage or disadvantage that Simatson has just put themselves in. Now they won't be fighting for a P1 or a P2. It will be now P1 to P3 as the Williams is invited back into the battle. Devon Young makes it a pit stop, of course, onto the hard tyre, goes for a bit more of an overcut to see if they can try and do something. It's going to be Simatson taking the lead of the Grand Prix. Frantic sits behind and slots in, with Joko now catching up even more than before. 14 seconds is the gap that Terence has to Simatson at the moment. They've got a DRS train runner, of course, ahead. He's also got damage, or behind, I should say. They've also got damage right now on that car, so they're looking to try and get a bit of a front wing repair. That's where they've been staying out for so long, so they can still make this medium tyre work later on. It could be a very interesting situation. Maybe if they had that front wing, their pace would be quite a lot better, and they would have been able to compete with these guys a little bit better from earlier. Of course, when you've got damage, it's virtually impossible to compete with. We'll see how it goes, of course, for them. But Terence stays out and continues as you would expect. They've got a few laps to go on this tyre for the moment. 2 to 3 laps, I would say, maybe a little bit more. Simaxon leads the way. Frantic, will they make that change? Inside line is chosen. The Williams will not have a look. They won't take the racing line as they weren't quite ahead safely enough to make that decision. Terence is looking to come and lap Pepe. Unfortunately, Pepe having an issue on the exit, the second chicane. And they get themselves once again on the right way on the circuit, and hopefully that they can continue. They do have a bit of damage on that left end plate, unfortunately. It is a very difficult game to drive with the grip difference compared to previous games, so we do understand the situation that they're in right now. Terence leads the way by 13.1 seconds. They're going to have to make a pit stop at some point soon. They're going to get a nice undercut, and if they can get a front wing repair, that will be absolutely perfect for their race. Frantic didn't get a DRS right there. If they can plan it out right, they might get a DRS as they go to Parabolica, unless the blue flags kick in enough and Pepe decides to move out the way. No, DRS will be available for Frantic as they go down the start-finish straight. That is going to be a nice advantage. It could be Frantic maintaining this lead as they go into the first corner. Simaxon, however, is very close to the back of Frantic. DRS wasn't given. DRS wasn't given to Frantic. Wow, I did not expect that. Unless that's an update in the game, that is a bug. It doesn't make much of a difference. I think this would have been the outcome anyway. But yeah, that is a very interesting situation to be in right there. Frantic now down to net P2 at the moment as Terence leads the way, not making a pit stop just yet. Jericho Willis watching the two switch positions ahead, could be on for their first win. He's currently got both race winners of this season ahead of them. Simaxon winning last time out in Singapore. The previous one before that was Frantic in Spain, ahead of Fauzi, who was the reserve driver, of course. Simaxon actually making a mistake from battling for the lead in early stages, unfortunately finishing a lot lower in the order, but still scoring points in that race. Now, Jericho Willis has been scoring consistent points throughout the season so far, and they're looking to try and go for their best result yet in F1.5. They've definitely stepped up here in Monza. It's great to see them fighting for the top three, as before we didn't quite get to see that, and now they have a great opportunity to possibly make this a victory. Frantic is going to take the lead of the Grand Prix as Terence goes into the pit lane. I say that. He's not actually made the move just yet. They make the move now, but we've got a three-way battle into the first corner, and they just back out to Jericho Willis as Frantic makes the move. Simaxon wanted to try and hold on ahead of the Williams, and that is as close as it's ever going to get. Simaxon will get back ahead. They'll get back ahead as they go to turn 3. Was that maybe an illegal overtake or something? I don't quite know. Looks to the inside line to spot their braking point, but Jericho Willis making that 3 wide into the first chicane. That was something special we saw just there. They did back off just about, but that was incredibly close, and you don't want to see that happen too much, especially on lap 17 out of 27, with such a long way to go in this race. Maybe on the last 3 laps that could happen, but wow, that is a difficult situation for all these drivers to be in. They've managed to handle it nicely, and they continue on their merry way. Fair enough. Well played from those guys. Devon Young trying their best to catch up to the cars ahead, putting in the purple sectors. Looking very quick, of course, as always. You can never count Devon out. But the Ferrari has still got a few seconds to try and catch ahead. Terence 5 seconds behind Devon Young, and on this fresh set of medium tyres with a fresh front wing as well to add to that. 5.3 seconds. We'll see if they can catch up a little bit later on. The fastest man on track right now, however, is Devon Young, so it's not going to be so easy. Frantic leads as they go through turn 3. This time around, Simaxon doesn't regain the top spot. Jericho Willis just has to sit behind. I didn't realise that they got a time penalty. That must have been just now. That I must have blinked and missed. But it is going to be a 3-second for Jericho Willis later on. It could change, and they might not be out just yet, but that is definitely going to hurt them if the other cars don't get time penalties, of course. It is a very easy circuit to get time penalties at. They've realised they've got this penalty and they're now trying to make progress. It's going to be a defensive throw by using the battery and holding on to the back of Frantic for Simaxon, not allowing Jericho to really make that move. Using the energy possibly again, looking very quick in a straight line as the Williams car, but they still can't find a way through just yet. 3 seconds for Devon. As I said, it's very easy to get time penalties around this circuit. It is now going to be just a time penalty game effectively, especially for the top two. If they get time penalties, it brings back the Williams into the battle, of course. Simaxon not really wanting to make that or give the position up as they hold the inside line. Looked like the Williams wanted to try and take the inside line to either go for a move on Frantic, I don't quite know. I don't know what was going on there, but they make contact. They lose a lot of time. They lose DRS to Frantic as they both made that mistake. Frantic guns it and spots their opportunity to try and break away right here. And I don't think P2 and P3 are going to be able to have a say in that at all. Simaxon's going to be furious. They don't have a time penalty, and they're all of a sudden now out of the lead train as Frantic's on their own. These two have to start working together if they want to catch back up to that Haas car. The DRS train will be crucial. They're going to back off on the energy, and they will get that slingshot. Now Simaxon's got to nail Oscari. They're going to nail Parabolica if they want to try and catch up ahead. They did go very aggressive over the curb on the inside right there. They could be in trouble if they're not careful. They can't afford to do that too much. That is Frantic, very far ahead right now. Half a second, they extend it from 3/10. Jakub, oh no! Big crash there for Jakub as they go through Parabolic, through Ascari on the exit. They hammer it into the right-hand side wall, and that is going to be a safety car and pit stops called in for all the drivers right here in Monza. Frantic is going to go and put a set of soft tyres on, I assume it would be, for all cars right here. What a shame for Zaplatau right there on their first race for Ferrari. Unfortunately, it's going to be in the wall for them as they put a very good performance in considering the circumstances. And yeah, it would have been great to see them in the train up the front, but unfortunately it didn't quite work out. And it didn't work out for them scoring points in the end either. Pepe will gain a position. Will they be able to? They will be able to unlap themselves, or not even. They weren't even lapped, so they will be able to catch up to the back of the pack and have another chance at being a little bit further up in the points again. They will be currently sitting in P6, P5 for the current tier drivers as well. So 10 points on the cards right here for the McLaren car. Now, Frantic will lead the way. It's going to be Jericho Willis going for that medium tyre. I don't think that's a bad idea at all. But it is Monza. Straight line speed is going to be king. Soft tyres, sure. The softer compound has more rolling resistance compared to a medium. But I think the grip, the exit advantage that you'd get, and all the way to the end of this Grand Prix, which isn't that long away, that soft tyre should be pretty quick. We've got Devon Young also on that soft tyre, but the medium was opted once again for another driver, and that will be for Terence right here. So we'll see how that one goes. Pepe waiting to go into the pit lane. They'll be going, I assume, onto the soft tyre as well. It would be a straightforward tyre to go for. I think it is the one that you have to go for, really. I mean, looking at the situation... Yeah, looking at the situation, you have to go for that soft tyre right now. I don't think it would be wise to do any other tyre. Sure, you would have good tyres to the very end of the Grand Prix, and it should work out very nice for you. But just that grip, that initial grip, is just going to be absolutely mega. And Pepe's going to be on their way into the pit lane. They have the ability to go into the pit lane right now, but it will be their last chance, I think, unless they, yep, I was going to say unless they go on the last moment, but no, they're going to try and catch up to the pack, which they'll be able to do anyway. They're just going to be on the hard tyre instead, so they don't opt to go into the pit lane, and they stay out for now. Now Frantic will lead the way, and Simaxon gets a free pass right here. It looked like Frantic was able to check out with the DRS games that were being played, of course, by Simaxon and Jericho. Jericho having that time penalty, 6 seconds for Devon, 3 seconds for Jericho Willis. No one else currently with a time penalty. But after all that, Frantic doesn't get the glory getaway that it looked like it was going to be. It is going to be Simaxon back into the battle for this P1. And Jericho can't give up yet because there's still a few laps to go and time penalties could definitely kick in. Simaxon, of course, did cut the Ascari chicane very, very hard when they made that move ahead of the Williams car as they did before the safety car was deployed. Might have been a warning, wasn't a time penalty. It's something that we've got to keep an eye on though. Frantic is going to be going for the restart of the Italian Grand Prix. The safety car comes around the final corner now. When will we be going racing once again here in the Temple of Speed? He can go at any point. And he goes for it, foot to the floor. It's a very, very good reaction time right here for Simaxon, who's going to have a go at maybe making the move into the first corner. It's going to be a great opportunity. We're going to get lag from Frantic as we saw in qualifying. They will lag back momentarily. It's going to be Devon Young looking to make the move ahead of Jericho Willis off the restart. A brilliant restart right there from them. 6-second time penalty that they need to try and make work if they want to get a good result. They've got to be careful, of course, of the higher tier or the current tier drivers being a higher tier driver, but that was a brilliant restart right there from the Red Bull car. You don't get it much better than that. Awesome reaction time to the car that was leading the restart, and now they are leading the race. It's going to be a move to the inside right here for Devon Young on the first les mode. They really want to make this work. Frantic lets it go, and they're going to be still in the DRS train, of course. They are on equal tyres, the top three now. This is how it would be expected, of course, with the tyre situation. Jericho not going to be quite so straightforward, but Simaxon makes that move in the meantime ahead of Frantic, and this is going to be crucial. If Simaxon can try and hold on to the head of Devon Young, not even bother making an overtake, they're going to get a great opportunity to defend from Frantic behind. So this could be a crucial moment right here in this race. Terence is also going to be in this battle. I didn't realise that Pepe was actually a lap down anyway, so unfortunately won't be able to be in the battle right here, even if time penalties were applied. Devon Young gets the fastest lap as they lead the way. Terence is watching the battle up ahead. It's going to be Simaxon taking the lead of the Grand Prix as Frantic will follow through. Devon Young is going to slot in behind. It's so close. Jericho goes into the back of Devon, and Terence goes into the back of Jericho right there. It's all a bit of a domino effect. They've got to be careful. These time penalties, of course, will come into play later on. Terence needs to try and find a way ahead of these time penalty runners. Currently looking to get a P3. They got a P3 in Spain. They missed out on any points in Singapore. So 2 podiums for this season would definitely help their championship a lot right here for the Aston Martin team as well. But Frantic and Simaxon, these are the ones that have won the races so far this season, and this is going to decide not who leads the championship, but who takes 2 wins this season, as it's very obvious to see. They're working together very, very nicely right now, P1 and P2, switching positions as they should be doing. This is how it goes in league racing. Devon Young just having to sit behind right now. This is not what they want to be doing. They're going to back off and slot in once again, but they want to try and make that move and see if they can break away. They want to try and stir up a fight behind so they start fighting, and then they can make that move, but it's not going to be happening. We might get Terence looking for a move here on the car of safety car. On the car of Jericho Willis, we're going to get another safety car right here. That is a big crash there from Pepe as they make a mistake at Parabolica. And once again, we will be under yellows. The question is, who is going to go into the pit lane? We're not really going to have a lot to play for right here, lap-wise. And the safety car is going to have to be caught by everyone. So we're going to try and make a bit of a prediction. We're going to be racing on lap 26 and 27. DRS will be available for the last lap of the Grand Prix, not on the start-finish straight, however. That is what we're going to be looking at. 2 laps of racing, half a lap of DRS. Who's going to go into the pit lane? Is anyone going to go into the pit lane? Track position for Frantic, track position for Samaxon. There's only 5 cars in the pack right now. In theory, Terence could lead by the end of the first corner once we go for the safety car restart. This can change everything at the moment. Indeed, Abu Dhabi 2021 moment right here with the safety car. I honestly, I'm holding my hands together right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm praying that it goes all right for everyone. But obviously, it's not going to go all right for everyone because somebody has to finish P5 and someone has to finish P1. Will we get any pit stops from any cars? We're going to see Devon Young fake it to the inside. It will be Terence going into the pit lane. As expected, we get at least one of the medium tyre runners into the pit lane. That is a good call. That is a very, very good call. Look at the tyre advantage they will get right here on the restart. They're gonna get an opportunity as well to warm up their tyres on their kind of safety car outlap, so they're going to be good to go. They're going to have the freshest tyres ever that you can possibly get. This is incredible right here for Terence. A brilliant opportunity to possibly take victory right now. Devon Young has just got to try and let things happen, of course, as a higher tier driver. Jericho Willis is basically in a very bad situation, of course, because they've got a 3-second time penalty to their name, which makes it incredibly difficult to do anything about it. From competing for P1, then looking at a P3 with the time penalty, now is going to possibly end up P4 for the EU drivers. Of course, Devon Young being a higher tier driver, it does mean that the lowest you can get as an EU driver is P4. So Terence currently sits in that P4 spot and will be catching up to the back of the pack right now. It's all very close right here in the final laps of the Grand Prix. It is going to be a 2-lap shootout, half a lap of DRS, I believe, to the end of this Grand Prix as well. This is going to be very intense. Frantic will lead the way as Samaxon once again has to react to the safety car restart. Can they replicate what they did earlier on and get a perfect restart and lead into the first corner? Do they want to lead into the first corner? Frantic goes for the restart to try and make it nice and early, and that worked out quite nicely, to be honest. They've got a decent run, but Samaxon will be gaining massively, and it looks like they're going to take the lead. Is that what Frantic wants, however? Is that what Frantic wants? He's going to make that move, and Samaxon will lead the Grand Prix here in Monza. How's this one going to work out? I don't quite know. It could get very messy. It could be awesome. Jericho Willis is very slippy on the rear end, and it's going to be Terence who is going to have to look at making some very decisive moves. They have to be critical on what they do right here. They've got about half a lap to try and warm up these tyres and think of what they're doing, assess the situation, but if they want to make moves, they're going to have to make the move on this DRS straight. Even though there's no DRS, they have to push for it. Samaxon leads the way, and they're going to start the final lap of the Grand Prix, probably in first. Will they head to turn 1 in first? I don't quite know, because Frantic is going to get slipstream and DRS on this straight later on. It's going to be very interesting. Samaxon tries to go to the inside line, maybe look at forcing Frantic into making that move for the win. I don't quite know. Jericho Willis is just having to watch behind. Devon Young is in the back of this train at the moment, watching things happen as well. This is going to be interesting between these guys. Here we go, though. The final lap of the Grand Prix. It's Frantic sitting behind Simaxon. Simaxon leads as we cross the line. Will they go for the move into the first corner and try and break away? DRS will be available in half a lap. I don't see why Frantic would want to make this move, and they are going to back off. Devon Young just watches behind. It's going to be Terrence. It's going to be Terrence making the move. It's not Devon Young. It's Terrence making the move. It was Jericho Willis watching behind, and Devon Young just drops off behind. They're not willing to do anything with the situation they're in, but they are. They're using the energy, and Terrence is going to be in a very difficult situation as they're going to go side by side, and all of a sudden the fight for the win is not really going to be likely here for Terrence right now. But now we get to the final half of the lap, and with DRS being available, Frantic, this is their decision. Will they make the move? Oh, Jericho Willis makes a big mistake. Will Frantic make the move into Ascari? Will they make it into Parabolica? They've got the DRS, they've got the outside line. They lead the Italian Grand Prix. Will ERS be available for the Red Bull car as the final opportunity will arise? ERS is not there. Slipstream, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Can they get the job done on the brakes? They move to the outside line, but they won't have the availability. They dip a wheel on the grass. It doesn't matter. Frantic is going to win the Italian Grand Prix to take 2 victories in F1.5. Terrence will get that P3 in the end. It'll be Jericho Willis and Devon Young finishing in P5. Wow, what a race. What a race. I'm going to be honest, that was incredibly confusing right there. I don't know what was going on. Everything was incredibly close. But I knew it was going to be a battle between these two. It's Frantic taking the win for the Italian Grand Prix. Simaxon fighting an epic P2 right there. The Terrence getting another podium this season in P3. Then we've got Jericho Willis. We've got Devon Young taking the fastest lap. DNFing was Pepe, Jakob and Zora, unfortunately, earlier on. We go through the race director just in case. We'll go through the pit stop section as well. And we'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome back to the post-race interviews. That was the Italian Grand Prix for the EU Championship. We talk to the race winner, Frantic. That is your second P1 of the season, of course, in Spain. You took victory for the EU drivers. Now you do it again in Monza, this time on track as well. Are you happy with that one?
Yeah, I mean, hoo-ha, hoo-ha, hoo-ha. That's the, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first Frantic on-track victory royal. Oh my god, love it, love it, love it. Did you see what happened to me in the qualifying?
No, well, I did, yes, actually. It was as soon as I started the live stream, and you went straight into the barrier. I assume it was wheel issues?
Yeah, I had no force feedback, so I was unplugging my steering wheel the whole time to reset the force feedback, basically. But I didn't notice that my steering wheel was rotated to the left. So when I went out of the settings menu, I drove straight into the wall in some frantic manner. But I mean, I could have gone faster, I think, like somewhere in the 28s. But I mean, it's not a big deal. Like starting in, the second row in Monza isn't that bad. So yeah, happy with the race result. Yes.
Fair enough. I'm going to assume you meant an 18 lap time, not a 28, because that would have been quite a difficult one to keep pole position. Oh well, sorry for the voice crack. Anyway, Austria, that is the next race, a sprint race as well. Do you think you can maybe even get some more wins? Maybe both of them?
Well, I mean, like Simaxon and Terrence and all the other guys are very fast, as we have seen this race. And Austria isn't. Yeah, I mean, it's one of my worst tracks out there. I've said it multiple times, but I'm not that fast there. So we'll see. I'm going for the third P1 in a row, but I mean, we'll see.
We'll see. Awesome.
We'll see.
Thank you very much. Really well done today. You deserve it. And we'll see you next time.
Yep. Appreciate you.
And we move on to Simaxon. That was such a close battle right there. You did get saved by the safety car a little bit, of course, having the battle with the Williams car. Do you think maybe if you played it out a little bit differently in your head, you would have been able to get that P1? Or do you think Frantic was just a little bit too quick today?
Frantic was always a little quicker than me. And I'm just trying to catch up to him and to his pace. And as I see in this league, I'm getting more and more quicker to the guys that are at the lead. But I don't think I had a chance to finish first.
No? Really? Do you think maybe if you played it out a little bit differently on the DRS at the very end, would you be confident in DRS being a bit of a lifeline and you would have been able to make that move? Or do you feel that even though you were as close as you were, you wouldn't have been able to do it? I mean, did you not think about making a move into turn 11, the final corner?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but it's more on the left side and I didn't want to end his race and my race.
That's fair enough.
So decided to stay behind.
Yeah, very, very respectable right there. Austria is the next one. That is going to be a very, very difficult race, of course, with DRS trains being just as prominent as Monza. Do you think you can do well there?
Yeah, I think I could try to fight with Frantic for the lead.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
The championship battle.
Yeah, so you continue to lead the championship, I believe, after this race. So hopefully it can go well for you there in Austria and you can maintain that lead. Well done today. Congratulations on the P2. Very close to P1, but we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
And we move on to Terrence. Terrence, it was so close. The safety car, of course, at the very end did help you and you would have been on fresh, soft tyres, but just to try and make that track position was so difficult. But still, a P3 for the EU drivers and a fastest lap. Are you happy with
that? Yeah, I'm happy with the fastest lap. That 1 point is very seriously important. So I hope that 2 points will help me. And also, the crash in Singapore is very heartbreaking. And so I don't do any practice and set up during the week. So, I mean, the race pace is fast. At least I didn't get a perfect car condition yet, but
Right.
it's still proof that I still have some competitive.
Yeah, it was good. Of course, you had that damage, unfortunately, earlier on, which definitely made it a bit more difficult for you. But you stayed in the race, more importantly, and you didn't get a time penalty, which brought you into it later on. Of course, coming from last weekend to then get a podium, I'm sure you're quite happy with that, although it would have been better to finish Singapore for sure. Going to the next race, Austria, do you think you can get another podium, maybe even a fastest lap?
First lap, I don't know. Just see how the dynamic goes on at that time. I think I don't expect I have a good result there because I hate the track, and I always seems like I can't get a perfect setup to Austria. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. You need a perfect balance of downforce, aggression, but also balance and straight line speed. Anyway, thank you very much, Terence. Really well done today on the podium, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Aaron.
And that's been it. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you on Tuesday and Thursday for some more practice lobbies. We will see you on Friday and Saturday for the Austrian Grand Prix for both the F1 and F1.5 EU Championship. That is going to be an awesome one with a sprint race to come as well. I cannot wait. We'll see you then. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.